Carolyn Dube here, and today's play has been brought to you by the emotion aggravation. I was so aggravated this morning, and I had to find a way to process, deal with it, get that out of my system. So I turned to my art journal and a whole bunch of colored pencils to make that happen. Come take a look and see how I did it. Well, I grabbed a blank page in my art journal and a whole bunch of colored pencils and pens because I needed to dump out a whole bunch of emotions somewhere. I have teenagers, and let's just say it was an aggravating morning. I'm sure plenty of you can relate to those kinds of days. And what I'm doing here is sort of doing what Julia Cameron does in The Artist's Way book, which is a fantastic book, by the way. She calls it morning pages, where you write and sort of dump out all your feelings and that kind of thing. And that's what I'm doing, except I'm doing it with color. I'm not doing it in a straight line. Well, by the time I'm done filling this page with all sorts of lines and color, I actually felt about a 3. I've actually felt 300% better. Those emotions that were really frustrating me before are not doing that anymore. Don't really fully understand the magic of how all this works. I just know that I feel a whole lot better and a lot more human. And on top of that, I have this really wonderful color background to work with now. And the feelings that I have transformed very much the way butterflies transform. Butterflies are one of my favorite symbols, and I can't decide if I want to use the stencil or the mask here. Now, this stencil from Stencil Girl products that I designed called Butterfly Journeys, you get both the stencil and then these 4 large butterfly masks. And I am stencil mask, I'm trying to decide. And you know what? I think I'm going to go with the mask. Instead of using the stencil, I'm going to use the mask. And I designed this stencil so I had that option very easily because, well, I really like stencils that give me lots and lots of options and possibilities. So I'm going to spread these around on my page and see where I want to position them. So once I've got them about where I want them, then what I'm going to do is bring in some black acrylic paint on a cosmetic sponge and put that around it. Now here's the thing, I could tape these down, but that's just, well, way much more work than I want to do at the moment. Now, where am I going to start? Should I start the one closest to me or the one farthest away? I'm going to start with the one farthest away because I'm going to drag my hand through it if I do the closest one as I work my way around. And I know that I'm going to drag my hand through whatever I'm doing, so I know to start in that top corner. And I'm just putting the paint all around it. And when I'm done, I'm going to lift up the mask to reveal the butterfly, the colorful scribble butterfly under there. Now I'm going to do is go on to the next one. Couple of things I have to watch out for is, one, not to unknowingly or unintentionally end up painting black inside that first butterfly that I've now got outlined. And yeah, the butterflies kind of wiggle around a little bit on me as I'm doing this, but then I just kind of reposition them and I keep going from there. Again, I could have taped them down, but why do that? As I'm using the cosmetic sponge, you'll notice that I'm pulling away from the edge of the mask. I'm doing that so that paint doesn't seep under it. It gives me a crisper line. So again, it's just dragging it away from the actual mask to help keep paint from running underneath. And you might also notice that sometimes the mask kind of wiggles around on me like it just did there. Not a big deal. I just line it back up again and then start putting the paint on. So you've got the idea of how this works, so I'm going to really speed it up as I go and do the rest of the butterflies. And yes, you'll see some more butterfly slipping, moving around with the mask, and all I'm going to do is put it back in place. Now when I go into this last butterfly, I realized that I didn't put enough colored pencil on the edge of the paper. So let me just finish getting that one in place. And I realized if I don't have enough colored pencil detail, my butterfly's not going to look as colorful. And so I decided I'll just bring in a colored pencil now, and I'll even fix a little bit up on the top. And over on the blog at acolorfuljourney.com, I've got links to all the supplies that I used. You can find a direct link to this blog post. Hopefully it pops up on the screen around now, but if not, it's also in the video description here on YouTube. And while you're over there on the blog, check out things like the free newsletter that has some goodies with it. And then also too, I've got a free workshop called Permission to Play. And I've also got a weekly link party called Let's Play. Kind of noticing that play theme running through what I'm doing? I'm really all into the play. And if you're enjoying this video and never want to miss when I have a new video out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. That way you'll know as soon as I have a new video out. Well, these butterflies, they need some words with them. So I turned to some stencils to help me out. I've got Transform by Seth Apter, and I've got Mixed Media Mail that I designed for over at Stencil Girl. And what I want to do is just use some of the words. I don't have to use all of them. I'm going to take some of the words from both of these stencils. I'm going to use a heavy-bodied white paint and a cosmetic sponge. But it's not going to be a big full-size cosmetic sponge. I'm going to go with a little cosmetic sponge. It's like the little remnants cut off the end. That way I won't have to mask anything off, and I'll be able to just stencil the words that I want. If I use a lot of paint, it's going to be a brighter white. If I use less paint or less pressure, it's going to be a hazier white because it's going to allow some of that black to show through from the back. And I'm going to go for a mixture here. I want some of both. That way it looks more varied and more interesting to me. So what I'm going to do now is grab Seth's stencil, and I'm going to add the word transform because butterflies really go with transformation for me. And all these feelings through writing them all out, they were transformed through this process. Now, just because on a stencil all the words seem to be horizontal or right side up or whatever you want to call that, doesn't mean you can't use them a different way. And so I'm going to turn the word this vertically from mixed media male. That way it adds a little different look to it. And then I'm going to tuck in the word now right between this and transform. So you can almost make a little puzzle of words there. But oh no, look, I've got some white paint where it wasn't supposed to be. Did I ruin it? Nah, I just took a Q-tip with some water on it and that wipes up the paint. But my black paint wasn't, well, how shall we say, dry enough, so I just put a little more black paint on it. Nobody will know it's there. Well, I mean, you do now that you saw me do it, but you know what I mean. Nobody knows that it happened. Now what I'm going to do is add even more journaling to this. I've got lots of my frustration journaling underneath, but now this white one, this journaling on top, this is more of the peaceful, all the feelings kind of settling down. That kind of thing is being captured with the white marker on here. Well, thanks so much for joining me for today's Play in the Art Journal. And yes, if you've enjoyed this video, you know I'd love it if you'd share it with someone that you think would enjoy this video. And of course, I'd love for you to pop on over to the blog and say hello at acolorfuljourney.com. And why, yes, indeed, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you'll never miss a video. Thanks for being a part of this colorful journey.